Hi everybody! After many requests, I am finally going to be doing a review on one of Camellia's corsets on Amazon. This is their short corset, or Waspie, or Cincher. There are a lot of different names for it, so I'll just put a link down below because it's a really long string of words and descriptors for it. But this is one of their shorter mesh cinchers. So here's the front, the side, the back, and the other side. So just putting my hair up so you can see the silhouette of the cincher a little bit better here. The center front is 9.5 inches. At the princess seam here, it's 8.5 inches. 4.5 inches are from the waist up and 5 inches are from the waist down. At the side seam here, it's 8.25 inches, and in the center back here, it's 9 inches. I chose a size small, which corresponds to a closed waist size of 24 inches. And when I measured it out of the box, the waist actually measured 23.5 inches, unstretched, but when I stretched it with my hands, it easily stretched a little bit over 24 inches. So it also stretches on my body. Also, the rib cage measurement out of the box was 26.5 inches. So it has a rib spring of 2.5 inches. And the high hip here had a measurement of 30 inches. So it has a hip spring of 6 inches. The top edge here is cut straight across, while the bottom edge comes down into a gentle point here. And the material is actually a little bit stretchy. You'll see in the material section of this review, when I go to the tabletop section, that it does have a little bit of spandex in it, so it does stretch a little bit around the ribs. And you can see that the binding at the top here is kind of holding the measurement of the top edge, but the material wants to kind of stress outwards below the binding, and same with the upper hip here. The binding is holding it a fairly stable measurement, but the other fabric of the actual panels are kind of bulging out, extending from that. You can also see that the stretchy material allows the bones to stick out a little bit at the top and bottom edges here. Like I said, the size small corresponds to a 24-inch closed waist, and it's recommended for people with a natural waist of 26 to 27 inches. So from that, I'm inferring that it's not meant for tight lacing if they only recommend reductions of only 2 to 3 inches in this corset. And indeed, that is the type of reduction that I'm getting in this corset, only about 2 inches, because I'm actually wearing it with a slight gap in the back because my rib cage is a couple inches larger than the rib cage of this corset. So let's go to the tabletop portion of this review and I can show you the details of this corset close up. So here's a Camellia's corset laid flat, and for the materials, the panels are made from what appears to be two different types of mesh, but they're actually attached to one another, so it is technically a single style of mesh. But you can see on the outside it has this honeycomb type appearance, very similar to the fishnet style netting that you see in a lot of different mesh off-the-rack corsets. But then on the inside, you can actually see that there is a little bit of a finer mesh on the inside here. But if I try to separate it with my fingers, I'm not able to. They're either fused together or it was woven that way. And especially the inside mesh here, it has a very kind of bouncy, foamy kind of plush feel to it. It's really hard to describe, but it does have like a little bit of squish to it. And the fabric content says that it's 90% polyester and 10% spandex, so it does have a bit of stretch. It does have some give to it. And then the binding at the top and bottom, the bony channels, and the center front and center back here are all made from black cotton twill. In most corsets, even off-the-rack corsets, I will usually find that, especially in the center front and back with the busk and the back grommets here, there will be multiple layers of fabric, or at least some sort of interfacing or interlining with the fabric here. But this feels much more thin than I'm accustomed to. I feel that it might just be a single layer of cotton in the front and back here. So that is a concern for longevity. At the moment, it seems to be looking fine, but I have been wearing this at very gentle reductions, only a 2 inches reduction or so. So definitely not tight lacing in this. This is what the label looks like. So you can see the size, the fabric content, washing instructions, and country of manufacture. Turning this corset to the side, it has a 6-panel pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see that panels 1, 2, and 3 converge down towards the lower tummy here, and a lot of the curve over the hip is actually between panels 4 and 5. And because of that, I'm wondering if this corset is not designed to be fully lace closed in the back, because then the position of the hip might be positioned a little bit too far back on the body. The panels look like they were assembled together with the seam allowances facing the outside, and you can see on the underside here there's a tidy top stitch in between each of these panels, and then thin cotton boning channels were laid down over the seam allowances on the outside here, single boned on the seams. There's a 1-inch wide waist tape exposed on the inside of the corset here, made from black single-faced satin ribbon, and it is secured down at each boning channel here, and it stretches from this surged or overlocked seam right here close to the busk here in the middle of panel 1, and it goes at least to this seam here where it meets the Modesty panel in the back here. One flaw about this corset is when I put the bust together here, kind of inside out, you can see that the waist tape is not lined up in the center front here. This side is a little bit higher and this side is lower. So if I draw a line across, it's like the bottom edge is in line with the top edge here. So I've seen a lot of different brands of off-the-rack corsets have slightly uneven waist tapes, but mostly in the center back. I actually haven't seen it in the center front here, but unfortunately because it's a mesh corset, it makes it really obvious when you're looking at me from the front. That's not to say that all their corsets have the exact same flaw, it's just something that I noticed on mine. Here's a close-up of the binding and also the boning channels. You can see that they're made from strips of black cotton twill here and machine stitched on both outside and on the inside here. Top stitch on both sides, so they might have been sewn on with a single pass, and there are no garter tabs in this corset. However, at the top of this corset, you can see that there are 2 rather large satin ribbon loops here, I guess if you want to hang the corset on a hanger to store it. The Modesty panel in the back is just under 6 inches wide, unstiffened, finished in 2 layers of black cotton twill here, and it's attached to one side of the corset with a row of stitching. And in the center front here, there's also a Modesty placket extending out from the knob side of the busk, also made from black cotton twill, 3/4 of an inch wide, and again, unstiffened. The busk in this corset is 8.5 inches long and it has 5 loops and pins equidistantly spaced. It is slightly wider than a standard flexible busk. It's about 3/4 of an inch wide on each side, but it has about the same flexibility as a standard flexible busk. There are a total of 14 bones in this corset, 7 on each side, not including the center front busk here. So like I said before, it's single boned on the seams, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these are all 1/4 inch wide spiral steel bones. You can see that they all attract my magnet pretty strongly here. And in the center back, there are 2 flat steel bones sandwiching the grommets here. And you can see that these also attract my magnets. There are a total of 18 grommets in the back, 9 on each side. They are equidistantly spaced, size 00 with a small to medium flange around them, and finished in silver. And like I said before, the fabric in the back here feels very thin, but the grommets seem to be holding in okay so far. That said, once again, I only wear this corset with about a 2-inch reduction in the waist, not tight lacing or waist training in this corset. And here's the underside of the grommets. You can see there are washes present. All of them seem to have rolled pretty well. There are none of them that are falling out. And the laces here are your standard workhorse, your 1/4 inch wide black flat nylon shoelace style lacing. It's a little bit of spring to them, but difficult to snap or break. Glides fine through the grommets, holds the knots and bows well, pretty standard. This mesh cincher by Camellia's Corsets is available in black mesh that you see here and also white mesh, and is also available in waist sizes extra small, which corresponds to 22 inches in the waist, up to 3XL, which is 34 inches in the waist. But do keep in mind that it does have a little bit of stretch to it. And from what I can see, it's available exclusively on Amazon. So this concludes my review of this mesh cincher or Waspie from Camellia's Corsets on Amazon. I hope you found this educational and you learned something new. If you did, please remember to click that like button down there as it helps support this channel. If you have any comments or questions about this corset or Camellia's corsets in general, feel free to leave a comment down below. Although do keep in mind that this is the first and only corset of them that I have tried thus far. But if you have any experience with this corset or a different corset from Camellia's, leave a comment down below and let us know what you think of it. I'm sure many of us would be interested to know. And thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.